Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by Tennova Healthcare. You've heard me talk about Tennova's Men's Health Center of Excellence, and folks, that is just what it is, excellent. As a part of the Turkey Creek Medical Center out there for Tennova, their one-on-one nurse navigators help men dealing with prostate cancer find the right doctors, make informed decisions about treatment. They help speed up recovery and rehab. It is a great, great service. The Men's Health Center of Excellence from Tennova. Learn more by going to tennova.com. All right. You can also learn more about UT football by talking to these VFLs right here. We got former Vol offensive lineman David Ligon, Will Overstreet back with us, former Vol and NFL and USFL quarterback Bobby Scott, and former Vol quarterback turned DJ Sterling Hinton. All right, guys. This is our Necessary Roughness segment. I'm going to throw out some topics that I think we can chew on in terms of negatives coming out of that loss. First one, I'll start with you. Matt Crowder out. I think that you'd had some stability on the offensive line that helped. You went against a very good Missouri defensive line that is top 3 in the SEC in sacks, maybe number 1 now. They confused them quite a bit up the middle with stunts and twists. Your thoughts on the play of the interior offensive line and what they went against from Missouri?
Well, as you mentioned earlier in the show, they took a step back, and I think a lot of that had to do with some of the injuries, the shuffling of the players on the line, and missing Matt Crowder. I mean, he's a guy that's been there all year, putting the calls out there, the right position, but you have to credit Missouri as well. I saw some stunts out there that would have confused a veteran offensive line. They did a really good job, and you plug in those younger players who haven't played as much, and all of a sudden those twists and stunts that it's not just a simple ET or TE. They're wrapping 3 techniques and they're faking the
one
pick.
guy bluffing,
Yeah, it was a great defensive game plan, front game plan for Missouri, and unfortunately just didn't give Josh Dobbs enough time to sit back there, look down the field, and throw it.
6 sacks last night from Missouri. I think a lot of people, when Dobbs got in there, it was like, well, you'll never see another sack. So much for that. Missouri's a pretty good team. Bobby Scott, Sterling Hinton, let me ask you. Dobbs didn't get a lot of help last night. There were a lot of drops from the wide receivers. The Malone tip for an interception. Pig Howard caught a lot of passes, also had a lot of passes he could have caught but didn't. You're without Marquez North. Not a great night for the receivers in general. Your thoughts?
Well, you hate to see that happen. A quarterback, kind of, he can lose his confidence. You've thrown 4 or 5 balls in there, and they should have been complete. You're still sitting back there looking now at third and 7, 8, 9, 3rd and 12, and it's rough on the quarterback to for those drops. But at the same time, it's something that he's got to be able to handle, and I don't think he handled it as well as he has in prior games.
Sterling?
I just think North not being there hurt us a lot. You got to remember we were still missing Mr. Smith was not playing this season. But
Vaughn Pearson may not be 100%. He
might not be 100. And it was interesting. He had Pig playing a lot of positions out there, and he did catch a lot of balls. It was just unfortunate we had our receiving core not 100% against a very good Missouri football team.
Did we overrate? Now, granted, injuries have played a role in this. They've been hurt by injuries all year long in that receiving core. But is that the one area? Going into it this year, I think that was the one area people could point to and say, yeah, they'll be good at receiver. In doing so, is that the one group we overrated a little bit?
Well, I think
is that not unfair?
I think you got hurt a lot by Josh Smith. I think he was kind of a safety valve a lot of times.
Good route runner.
Route runner, and I think him not being there. I think you have a lot of burners and a lot of guys that can make big plays, and I think you then kind of had him as your complement to those guys to help your quarterback out. And I think without him, I think that is tremendously downgraded this wide receiver core.
Not tremendously downgraded. I wouldn't say tremendously downgraded. Now, let's not be too intense, Mr. Overstreet. But, that's the thing.
Was I unfair to say that they might have been a little overrated?
I wouldn't say overrated. It's just that you got guys playing a lot of different positions. You got guys that are hurt.
Yes.
You got key guys that are hurt. And, they did have some good production.
That's fair. I'm unfair, you're fair.
And it's tough to get the ball to him when the quarterback's on their back a lot. So
that's true, too.
Exactly.
That helps.
Will Overstreet, I'll end with you. The turf hasn't been great at Neyland Stadium this year. You've had a changeover in terms of the ground crew over there. It's been kind of iffy this year. It's never been this iffy before. Last night, Tennessee couldn't afford to burn any timeouts late. You're going in for a touchdown that would cut it to 8. Dobbs slips and falls. Now, I think you can blame the turf on that one, but he slips and falls. Tennessee winds up having to waste a timeout because they're not jumping to the line and getting the thing going again. Thoughts on that turf? As a player, do you look at it and say, oh, I kind of like a muddy turf, a bad field, or do you look at it and say, no, give me the fast track?
If your game is speed, it's all about fast track. And as a smaller defensive end, it was about speed. It's for me. So having a bad turf is a bad place to be. And I think right now, I think you've got some issues there. And I don't know how to say it poetically or the best way, but you got to figure out something different because it's been good for a lot of years. And you made one change, and it's got a lot of problems. So something's got to happen because Tennessee always had a great fast track. Other teams used to grow their grass. I remember Arkansas one year didn't mow their grass for about 4 weeks to play against us. If we're going to have fast wide receivers and those kinds of players, and especially in a spread offense, you better have a fast track.
There are people around here that has the ability to straighten any problem with grass out over there if they'll just go after them and get them to come in and take a look at it.
There's a joke there somewhere, but I'm not going to touch it in terms of finding people in town who know how to deal with grass. All right. When we come back, we are going to talk about views on Dobbs, Butch Jones, Missouri. What changed yesterday? We'll look around the SEC. Bielema, Stoops, Jones, how do they stack up now? Come on back on the Sports Source.
Quality, quick. Trust Fast Frame.